Within seconds, my foot ends up going through the window, and I scream. My parents actually wake up to figure out what's going on at 4:30 in the morning.
Hey, spooky siblings. Monsters are real. Ghosts are real too. They live inside us.
Hey, spooky siblings. Welcome to another scary Monday. My name is Red, and this is Left on Red. Today, Polty and I will be reading creepy, unexplainable stories that happen to folks in their childhood. Story number 1. One time, my brother, his friend, and I saw lights in the sky that darted around like UFOs. We went to get my mom, and she was totally nonchalant about it. "Yep, those are UFOs," she said, and went back in the house. Her response was so subdued that we figured she was humoring us and they weren't actually UFOs. Years later, I asked her about it, and she said she had to force herself to act calmly because she was so terrified. Story number 2. My dad tells a story of one time when he was eating dinner at my mom's house before they were married, with her whole family for like a Sunday dinner thing. In the middle of the dinner, when everyone was sitting at the table eating, they heard footsteps upstairs walking down the hallway. A minute or so later, the toilet flushed, and the footsteps walked back down the hallway. My dad was like, "Yo, what was that?" And everyone else just kept eating like it was normal. We later asked my mom about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's George, our ghost."
Now only if we could get our humans to act in such a respectful manner.
Dear Polty, what I'm curious about is why the ghost needed to use the bathroom.
For shits and giggles.
Third story. When I was a kid, my family lived in a blue house that was oddly shaped. One year, the house got completely gutted and nearly destroyed by a flood, and they had to knock down a wall between the living room and the kitchen. So, after the flood, you could see all the way down the hall to my parents' bedroom door. This house was strange, for the lack of a better term. I was a terrible sleeper as a kid and would routinely wake up and just go into the living room and watch cartoons on low volume if I couldn't go back to sleep. One morning, I'm out in the living room sitting across the chair with my feet up on a window. Don't ask me why. I was a stupid 8 or 9-year-old. From where the chair was, I could see just over the kitchen counter down that hall to my parents' room. A movement caught my eye. I looked up and saw the shadowy outline of a man walking toward me, kind of near my parents' door. Thinking it was my dad, I said something like, "Hey Dad, sorry if the TV was too loud." Dad is a notoriously light sleeper and would wake up from anything. Except there was no response. Within seconds, my foot ends up going through the window. Again, not sure if this is related or if I was a dumb kid. Likely the latter. And I scream. My parents actually wake up to figure out what's going on at 4:30 in the morning. At this point, I'm preoccupied, but realize much later that I definitely saw the outline of a man, but there was no way it was my dad because A, he came bounding out of their bedroom after my scream, and B, I realized the shoulders of that outline were much higher than what my dad's would have been. Fast forward to a few years ago, we have moved far away from the blue house, and my mom and I are hanging out and catching up. For some reason, the blue house comes up, and I tell my mom that the place still gave me creeps and weird stuff happened there when I was a kid. Mom's response, "Oh, you must have seen the Shadow Man too."
And here are some pictures of the house. So cute. Classic HGTV cottagecore vibes.
Story number 4. When I was young, I apparently had a few odd interactions with animals. I would know a person had animals before we went in the house. They tended to come over to me before my parents, mostly just little things that were probably explainable by me being a fairly observant little kid. The one that sticks out to my parents, though, telling it the way they do, is that we went to a new car garage to have them work on our car. As we pull up, the owner has a big old black lab laying in the middle of the lobby. The guy informs us that the dog is comfortable with people. We can pet him if we want. I shake my head and say, "He's sad though." Dad looks at me, asks why I think that. I reply, "He lost his ball. He's sad now." Dad said the owner went pale, stared at me for a minute, and then looked at Dad and said, "He's had a favorite ball for 10 years that just went down the sewage drain yesterday, and I couldn't get it back out."
Aww, don't worry, little pupper. I'll ask my buddy Pennywise to look for your ball. He's kind of a big deal when it comes to sewers. I'm sure he'll be able to find it.
And that was Scary Mondays. My name is Red, and this is Left on Red. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and press the bell notification button so that you get notified every time Polty and I upload a new video. Until next time.